So the V4 Countess pedal now going into the output stage of the V40 Deluxe, using the amp through method or 4-cable method.
Okay, cool. So V40 neck pickup.
Good stuff. Good
Sounds
stuff.
great.
Yeah, nice one.
Really, really nice. But I did have, I suppose, why have a clean channel on the pedal with an overdrive channel as well? Obviously, I understand it on an amp, but when you've got a pedal with a clean channel, I'm confused a little bit.
Right. With some amps you can buy, they may have a clean sound that is too clean, and you can colour this. You can get it to overdrive a little bit and for blues or whatever, or you could have an amp that is just a one crunchy sound, and it does that thing very nicely, but you might, in an effort to expand its palette, that's why you might actually like to have a clean sound available. Some people like to use their volume pot, but some people like to be able to just step on a button and have it all there straight away. So that was my thinking anyway. Or you can have a very clean amp, and then you can have hopefully a bit of a volume boost and just a subtle amount of breakup.
Obviously, with the fact this is a preamp, you know, running it into the return is where you're going to get, it's replacing the preamp of the amp.
Yes, yes indeed, yes. Running it as a pedal, if you like, into the front end of your amp, it's never going to clean things up. It's going to be, it's just going to provide you with a clean boost, which, you know, it may be what you're after, but it's not going to give you a clean sound.
And I guess lastly, with something like this in such a small footprint, you can fly wherever you need to go with this, and essentially you've got clean and an overdrive at your feet. So yeah. If the amps weren't already small enough, you can now have them even smaller.
Yes, indeed. Yes, and it's just nice if you get something like this and you get to know it and know what it does. It's at least something consistent. If you do have to do these fly gigs where you don't know what will be provided until you get there.
It could be any amp with an effects loop, and you're good to go with the Countess. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Well, that sounded great with the Strat, but I'm going to try it with another guitar. Let's try some humbuckers, maybe. This guitar scares me in a good way, so let's play it. Right, we'll leave it. I guess we'll just leave it the same.
Leave it the same for now, yes, and see, just to see what it does differently.
Okay. Sounds great.
Yeah, smashing. So let's just play around with it. You play a bit for me if you would, and I'll just play around with the EQ just so we can get an idea of what they do.
Wicked. All right, here we go.
12 o'clock.
Sounds great.
Yes. We'll just quickly remind ourselves, just so we've had a good listen to that. So if we hear just the core sound of the amp again.
Okay.
Good stuff.
I just thought for a second that the cool thing, again, with using something like this in front of a single channel amp is that if you get your sort of main tone, let's say you wanted the main tone from your amp because that's your sound, but you wanted a clean and then something to boost for some crazy lead stuff, then you could theoretically slot the amp right in between the two channels, give yourself a clean, then like a mid gain, which is your main tone, and then go kick it into some lead.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just a great thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And on that note, I reckon we should put on a bit of gain.
Very nice.
That has great feel. That's the thing, it has a good feel.
Yes. Yeah, it's important with the gain sound. It's not just got to be dirty, it's got to feel...
The response, the pick attack, everything, really lovely. Shall we mess around with the EQ?
Indeed, yes.
So just before I change guitar to something a lot more contemporary, I thought it might be worth sticking with this guitar and trying the gain range. Because obviously I've played the V30 before many times, but it'd be nice to hear how the Countess preamp pedal, works with low gain tones, mid gain and high gain tones.
Yeah, good idea. Yes.
Okay. I think that's probably the heaviest this 335 has ever sounded, but that was great. Right, let me grab something a lot more modern, something a little bit more contemporary.
Yeah, can we try some of the clean tones with that?
Yeah. Well, it's got the PIEZO in it as well, so it might be nice to mess around. Let's try it.
You know what you're doing with it, so I'll let you do.
Well, I'll start with just pickups.
Okay.
Something in the middle and the clean. Mick, can I have some delay and reverb, please?
Yeah, smashing.
That sounded really nice.
Yes, it does. So we've got some delay and then reverb on the output of this, going back to the effects return of the amplifier.
So for somebody that's just bought this, how are they gonna, when they go, all right, I want to use this, for me for example, if I get one of these and I'm going to go, let's use reverb and delay as well, you know, what's the path? I'm assuming this is the first in the chain from the effects end.
In fact, that's the first thing from your guitar. Okay?
Right.
So your guitar goes into there, and then an output from the pedal to your effects and back to the return of the amplifier.
Yes. So you're replacing the preamp of the amp completely, which is what it is, but it's just for those that may get one and be like, how am I going to use this with my effects in the loop like I do? I suppose that's
the part.
Simple enough?
It can be just a plug in and play, but to get the full flexibility from it, it's worth reading the manual. But it's quite nicely labelled on the back so that everyone knows where to plug what leads.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to say is just, if I turn this off and this is the first thing in my loop, is that just going to shut everything down? So I don't get my effect in my loop if I want my amp, for example?
No, they should work.
Okay.
If you say play.
Okay. That's awesome. That's even more flexible now. It's blown my mind.
Yes, it is. The purpose of it is just to add more flexibility to your amp, and if it's got an effects loop, that's where it really comes into its own. So it's really like it's more a preamp than a pedal, most definitely.
I reckon, since I'm holding this guitar with the aim to be more contemporary, we should put some gain through it. Let's have a listen to humbuckers, modern humbuckers with some high gain, see what it sounds.
I think so, yes. Should we set the EQ flat to begin with? Through the floor. Always a good sign.
Push the gain up a bit more. In fact, actually what I would like to do is just check the range of gain with something like humbuckers as well, because we did it with the other guitar, but you know, for the sake of it, let's mess around with the gain. And maybe the EQ. Just mess with it all.
I shall. That's the gain range. So there we have it, the Countess V4 pedal.
It's great.
Put through its paces by your good self, and all through a V40 Deluxe output stage.
Which is a single channel amplifier.
Yeah, just single channel amplifier, not the sort of amplifier you'd generally use for those shenanigans. But, I know I'm going to get this asked a lot, and I bet people you've been speaking to, you've heard it a lot already, and people are going to say to me, what's it going to sound like through a Hot Rod Deluxe?
Ta-da! Hot Rod Deluxe.
Nice.
Should we humbucker it up?
I think we should.
I think this requires high gain.
I think it does. Yep, it does require high gain.
Yeah.